Hi there, I'm Doug Herbert, currently working as a reporter and anchor for CKNW. On this demo tape, you'll find some of my stories from BCIT and various internships across the province. I've also included some of my CKNW stories. Good afternoon and welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Doug Herbert.
And I'm Bertie Hamilton.
With H1N1 at the forefront of people's minds lately, reporter Sarah Johnstone has been following the story this week. Sarah, can you tell us anything new about the H1N1 pandemic and the vaccine rollout? The stage may bring a city's art to life, but it won't be happening here if New Westminster's school board has its way. The Massey Theatre celebrated its 60th birthday this year, but may be demolished to make way for a new school. Executive Director of the Massey, Jessica Schneider, explains why. 5 months after the Burrard Bridge bike lane trial began, Vancouver City Council is calling it a success. Council has voted to extend the trial until the spring of 2010 based on a staff report. City staff has said they are looking for solutions, but the safety of cyclists is most important. Although the city's staff report is quite positive about the Burrard Street Bridge, no final decision has been made. As you can see here, the city is still monitoring the number of cyclists that are crossing the bridge on a daily basis. With the winter around the corner, it'll be interesting to see what number that is. Doug Herbert in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. Defense made its final closing arguments this morning. Defense lawyer Peter Wilson drew heavily on testimony from 3 psychiatrists, arguing that Schoenborn was suffering from psychosis when he murdered his 3 children. He argued that that psychosis caused Schoenborn to believe that he was saving his children from a fate worse than death. Wilson said Schoenborn saw reality on an entirely different plane than the rest of us. Nobody else was living on his planet. The defense argued that Schoenborn should not be held criminally responsible in the deaths of 10-year-old Caitlin, 8-year-old Max, and 5-year-old Corden. Singing Demons is one thing you'll see in Downstage Right's production of Evil Dead the Musical, directed by Mark Carter. But Carter's production isn't the only one in town. A Calgary company opened their show here just over a week ago. There's lots of blood and guts in this production. Evil Dead the Musical will be performing at the Norman Rothstein Theatre until November the 7th. And from what I've seen, it's a rip-roaring good time. I'm Doug Herbert in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. A deal between Crown and Defense attorneys has led to a 6-year RCMP veteran being sentenced to pay a fine of $1,500 for her role in a crash which killed 2 men. Constable Patina Kostyuk was initially charged with 2 counts of dangerous driving causing death, but with a trial fast approaching, she pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of driving without due care and attention. The Crown noted her clean record and the fact she wasn't trying to kill Walter Kostyuk or Albert Hera for the fact they didn't request jail time. Doug Herbert reporting outside of Provincial Court in downtown Vancouver.
First caucus meeting as Premier Designate has wrapped up in Vancouver, and as NW's Doug Herbert reports, MLAs are calling it a success.
I think today was fantastic. We had the opportunity to hear from our new Premier.
I thought it was a wonderful caucus meeting today.
Today went very well. Obviously, I had left caucus some time ago. Today, I spoke with my colleagues and came back.
The last voice was Blair Leckstroms, who rejoined caucus after leaving it over the handling of the HST. Clark says she's glad he's back.
I'm delighted he's back. I think it is a great change in our caucus again to have him back with us.
Clark says the caucus chair is in talks with Bill Bennett about returning to the fold. She says they're working through the details of moving up the HST referendum date, and she wants to hold a by-election quickly. Doug Herbert, CKNW, News Talk 980, Vancouver. Thank you for taking the time to watch my demo tape. I'm Doug Herbert, and my contact info is up next.